Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Patrick and I'm an amateur photographer and sometimes vlogger, I guess. If you watched my fall 2020 gear update video, then you already know, but I got a new camera that I picked up. I picked up the Fuji X100V over the summer, and now that I've had it a few months, I thought that I'd take a moment to share my thoughts on this camera and the experiences that I've had with it so far. I've been a Sony shooter for the last few years. I started with an A6000 and then upgraded to the A7R II and then the A7R III. So in a way, this is a big departure from those styles of cameras for me. The X100V here has a fixed lens instead of an interchangeable lens. It has a smaller sensor than the A7Rs. So all in all, it's definitely something that's been new for me. And it's also been a real experience jumping into a new camera system just in general, having to learn how the Fuji does everything from how its UI works to the various functions and how they operate. People often complain about the Sony menus, but honestly, I found the Fuji system just as confusing when I started using them, and it really took me some time to get used to it and understand how everything works. Now, in this video, I'm not going to do a deep dive on specs for this camera. There are lots of videos on YouTube about that, so if you're interested, go search for those. For here, I just want to share my experiences with this camera, what I've liked about it, what's a little funky about it, and then overall how I feel about the camera in general. The X100V is an update on the previous X100F model. It's the fifth, or V, in the series of X100 cameras. It's a rangefinder style camera with a hybrid optical and electronic viewfinder. And as I mentioned, it does have a fixed focal length lens, which is 23 millimeters or 35 millimeter equivalent. It's a brand new sensor though, which is 26 megapixels. Also new for this model is it has this fancy little flip screen in the back. So welcome to that, the rest of the camera world. Now, what do I like about this camera? I'll start off talking a little bit about why I got it actually and what makes me excited to use it. First off, I think it's a gorgeous camera. Sure, that's a little shallow, but I think it's okay to appreciate good design and aesthetics in something. It has this classic film camera look with the brushed aluminum top and lens and the black body. In fact, actually, when I first got it, my son looked at it and he was like, that's a cool camera, so I'll take that. So I really like how it looks, and it's fun to hold and use. And while that doesn't have any impact on the pictures that I'll take with this camera, if I like using it, then I'll use it more. And I think anything that makes you shoot more is a good thing. Next, with the fixed lens, I hope that this will help me focus my photographic attention. Sometimes I have a problem with my photographic focus, or if you ask my wife, I have a problem in general with focus. But for photography, I have an issue sometimes of what exactly I want to take photos of, or I want to put my attention when I'm shooting. I want to bring every lens that I can. I want to bring every piece of equipment, multiple cameras, blah, blah, blah. And then I can't focus on what I'm going to do because I'm agitating over my equipment. Am I shooting street photography or travel shots or landscapes or cityscapes or vlogging or time lapses or whatever? I'm trying to do it all, or at least bring all the equipment that I can. And so I really want to be able to focus what I'm taking pictures of. And I've really gotten excited about street photography lately, and hopefully having this fixed lens will help me focus on that. Next are the film simulations. I don't think I'm the greatest post-process photo editor. I'm okay. I don't feel, even after several years of shooting, that I have a good sense of what my style is. I just shoot and do my edits and probably end up with an oversaturated sunset shot. So I'm intrigued by the color science and film simulations that Fuji has. Maybe that'll help me explore some other colors and styles and eventually build a better sense of what my style can be. The shutter on the X100V also has what's called a leaf shutter, which is different than most digital cameras. One of the unique capabilities of this kind of shutter is that it allows the shutter to sync faster than other camera flash combos. This can allow you to use a fill flash on really bright days, which otherwise would be really difficult. And this can open up some interesting creative opportunities. It's something neat to explore, and I look forward to playing around with it. Now, what are some funky things about this camera? It is weather sealed, mostly. It's weather sealed all over the body, but the lens isn't weather sealed because it moves in and out when it's focusing. So if you want to completely weather seal it, then you have to buy a separate lens filter, like a UV filter, and put that over the front of the lens. which is kind of strange and funky that Fuji would carry the weather sealing so far and then just quit right before the finish line, or at least not include something in the package to make it fully weather sealed for you. Which then brings me, of course, to the lens ring in general, which is another funky thing about this camera. The filter threads are reverse threaded, which means that the threads are on the outside of the lens instead of the inside. So you either have to buy threaded filters or reverse threaded filters, or you have to buy some kind of an adapter to switch the threads so you can use all the other filters that you have. Thankfully, the lens hood that I bought does have a thing that you can split it in two so that you can reverse those threads and then use your other filters with this. So ways to get around that, I guess. Now, of course, I did get some accessories, and I talked about this in my gear update, so I'll repeat it a little bit here. I got a Peak Design slide light strap to go with this, something that's a little bit smaller to fit with this camera. Also, that lens hood that I was talking about that splits into two, of course, doesn't come with the camera, so you have to get this as well. And then I did get a UV filter that I can fit over the lens if I want to, and make it fully weather sealed. Let's show you here. So again, this is reverse threaded here, and you can kind of slide this over, and then now this is fully weather sealed. I also got that black Pro Mist filter. This is a Pro Mist 1.8. It's nice, it gives the shots kind of a slightly softer look, which is kind of fun to play with, especially when you're doing street photography. And then lastly, I got this 50mm lens adapter so that I can put this onto the camera and go from that 35mm to the 50mm. Now, I know I just talked about that I'm trying to focus and not bring a bunch of camera equipment, but I got this because with my street photography, I'm still not honestly that confident in getting up in people's faces and taking shots. So this allows me to kind of step back a little bit from people and still try to frame up the same shot, and then I don't feel like I'm so much in their face. All right, that's it for the accessories. Now, of course, what really matters is the shots that you take with this camera. So here are some example shots that I've taken with the X100V over the last few months. Take a look. So overall, I'm super excited about this camera. I've had it for a few months now and I've really enjoyed using it. I actually had a commenter on that gear update video mention, like, didn't you do a gear acquisition syndrome video earlier in the year and now you bought a new camera? So I actually think that the gear acquisition syndrome is really about buying things that you don't use that you think is going to make your photography better, and then it's just a waste of money. And so it's not about never buying a piece of equipment ever again. It's about making sure that you really use the camera and equipment that you're purchasing and getting value out of that and taking photos. And I feel like I get a lot of value out of this. I've really, really enjoyed using it. I've enjoyed taking it out and really exploring that street photography side of things. So I don't consider this a gas kind of purchase since I am using it and getting a lot of value out of it. So I hope that I do get a lot more opportunities to get out there. It's a little tough with the pandemic right now, of course. So I hope things get better and then I'm really able to explore using this. All right, well, thank you again for hanging out and checking out another video. If you enjoyed this, please hit that like button, subscribe if you like seeing these videos in general, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. I hope I see you all in the next video. Take care and stay safe.